Proverbs chapter 18, a study in Proverbs, the one who states his case first. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. When wickedness comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes disgrace. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. It is not good to be partial to the wicked, or to deprive the righteous of justice. A fool's lips walk into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin, his lips are a snare to his soul. The words of a whisper are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. Whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and is safe. A rich man's wealth is his strong city, and like a high wall in his imagination. Before destruction, a man's heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is folly and shame. A man's spirit will endure sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before the great. The one who states his case first seems right, until the other comes and examines him. The lot puts an end to quarrels and decides between powerful contenders. A brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city, and quarreling is like the bars of a castle. From the fruit of a man's mouth his stomach is satisfied. He is satisfied by the yield of his lips. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. The poor uses entreaties, but the rich answer roughly. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Our proverb of the day is verse 17. The one who states his case first seems right, until the other comes and examines him. Yep, he's guilty. I just heard the prosecutor present the evidence. That's all I need to hear. Does that sound familiar? What is it in our human nature that we have not been able to overcome this tendency to believe the first person to tell their story? It may be that what they're telling is true. However, it is wise to hear the other side of what happened before rushing to judgment. A saying that I keep in mind is, no matter how thin a pancake is, there's always two sides. This is the essence of what we find in certain passages of the law of Moses. Deuteronomy 19:15 tells us, a single witness shall not suffice against a person for any crime or for any wrong in connection with any offense that has been committed. Only on the evidence of two witnesses or three witnesses shall a charge be established. Why? Any number of reasons might be behind why someone with a grudge or greedy intentions would try to accuse another of a crime. An incident in the life of King David may be well to visit as another example. David is fleeing Jerusalem because his son Absalom has made a coup against him. On his way out, he meets a man named Ziba. He is a servant of Mephibosheth, who is the son of the late King Saul. Ziba has loaded a couple of donkeys with food for David and tells him that his master has stayed in Jerusalem, and further is glad for David's calamity. It isn't until David returns that he hears the other side of the story and finds that Ziba is accused of stealing the donkeys and leaving Mephibosheth behind. One can only imagine how that changed David's decision. In the life of Solomon, we find perhaps one of the first royal decisions he makes is that of the two prostitutes in 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 16 through 28. Solomon is presented with an almost impossible case wherein both sides sound legitimate. If Solomon had believed the first woman's testimony without hearing the other side, what a tragedy it might have been. It is only after hearing both women that his decision is able to devise a scheme wherein the truth can be found. What is at the heart of this proverb? It may very well be that Solomon is encouraging the idea of listening. If we back up just a few verses, we find this gem of a proverb in verse 13. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame. In the New Testament, we find the rulers of the Jews were quick to judge Jesus and wanted him arrested. A controversy arose among them, and Nicodemus brings up a valid point when he says in John chapter 7, verse 51, "Does our law judge a man without first giving him a hearing and learning what he does?" Well, that's sage advice. In the United States, you will hear many times the adage, "Innocent until proven guilty." If only that were the case in the court of opinion as well. We find one of the great guidelines for life as it relates to the ears, mouth, and heart is when James writes in James 1:19, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger." One of the greatest assets we may possess is that of being able to consider that no matter how passionate someone may seem who relates an incident, we will do well to reserve judgment and consider that another side of that story might very well shed light to the situation. How are your listening skills? And Lord willing, we'll meet here again tomorrow.